Hello folks, this is Sula speaking, and you're watching a commentary video on League of Legends, this one featuring Twisted Fate. What I'm doing here is playing in a practice game, 4-on-4, with pre-made teams. I'm playing as Twisted Fate, along with the Archduke, who's playing as Mundo, along with Krill, who's playing Tristana, and along with Sandover, who uses the username Bottenskrop, who's playing as a Mumu. Then we're playing against a team that looks pretty similar to us. We have Lurker playing Mundo as well. We have Tyrmith playing Tristana. We have Terror playing Ashe, and then we have Atlas playing as Warwick. And Atlas is using his alt account, so his username is, I think, aces and eights instead of what you'd expect. Now, this being a 4-on-4 game, you can see that we're going to have many fewer people than what you would see in a normal 5-on-5 game. Obviously, there's only going to be 4 champs on each side of the map. Maybe that was really obvious to say. That means that we're each going to have 3 solo lanes. Each team will have 3 lanes, in which one person on each side. And then the other team, and then we'll each have 1 jungler. On our team, Sandover is going to jungle with the Mumu, and on the other team, Atlas is going to jungle with Warwick. Atlas is using his alt account, as I said. He is picking Warwick, and the reason why he was apologizing is because Atlas actually plays Warwick a lot. But since he's using his alt account, he doesn't have as many choices. So I'm pointing out, it's like, well, you're playing Warwick, but you're not going to have, your runes, you're not going to have your masteries on your alt account. And you can see Atlas says that's for sure. Anyway, in terms of how we're set up, I'm going to end up taking the top lane. Then we're going to have Krill as Tristana taking the middle lane. And then we're going to have Lurker as Mundo taking the bottom lane. And that's how we have it planned. I'm just standing here to make sure that the other team isn't going to try to attack Sandover right at the beginning of the game at the golems. So I'm just going to hang out here. One other little tidbit that I'll point out, this is something that I don't think was in the patch notes, but in one of the recent patches, Riot actually changed the spawn time for the minions. They used to spawn at 1:30 on the clock. Now I think they spawn at about 1:25. And the golem buff also used to spawn at 1:55, and now I think it comes out at right around 1:50, so it comes out slightly earlier. I don't know exactly what the rationale for that was. I think perhaps they just wanted to get the game started a little bit sooner, because there is always a little bit of this dead time at the start of each matches, and my guess is that they just wanted to curtail that a little bit, while still leaving some time for team fighting and whatnot right at the start of the game. Anyway, just a little tidbit there. Now you can see that Terror playing Ashe is going to be opposing me in the lane here. So that's going to be the top lane here. Then we have another Mundo against Krill in the middle, and I can't remember who's playing Mundo on the other team there, just for a sec. And then down at the bottom lane, we have Tristana Mundo. So we have a Tristana Mundo in the middle lane, and then we have another Tristana Mundo, but on the opposite teams down in the bottom lane. So yeah, very, very confusing. Mundo was free this week when this game was played, so that's one of the reasons why you see a lot of Mundos. And Tristana is always free for anyone as long as you sign up to follow Riot Games on your Facebook account. So that's why a lot of people have Tristana. All right, let me talk. Yeah, their Atlas says the lack of armor is huge in terms of doing the jungling. Okay, let me talk briefly about Twisted Fate. I did do another video previously on Twisted Fate, but it was the first time, really the first game I had ever actually played Twisted Fate. I've now played a couple more games, so I can talk about him a little bit more in detail. And I think if you compare this game to the first one I did with Twisted Fate, you'll see that I've gotten significantly better, even in just going from, say, 1 game to about 3 or 4. Alright, Twisted Fate's Q skill is called Wildcard, and I haven't used it yet because it's the last one I put a point in, but it's a nuke that you can use. It's essentially a skill shot. Twisted Fate will fire off 3 cards. 1 goes in a straight line, and then the other 2 fire out sort of on the diagonals. It doesn't do much damage at level 1, which is where I have it right now, but as you put more points in it, it becomes a better and better skill. Once you get it up to level 5, it actually does a lot of damage. And there it is. There was Wildcard there for the first time. The main advantage is that it has great range. The cards go a very long distance, so it's very good for harassing. And it also does good damage once you get it up to a higher level, as I said. Alright, now his second skill, and the one that Twisted Fate is best known for, is called Pick a Card. That's Twisted Fate's W skill. And I'm not exactly sure what happened there. I think that it said a minion killed Atlas, not exactly sure what happened there, so perhaps a mistake while jungling. And meanwhile, down in the bottom lane, Tyrmith gets first blood on the Archduke. Anyway, getting back to what's going on up here, like I said, Twisted Fate's second skill is called Pick a Card. and that's where you see these cards appearing over my head. You can pick from between 3 different cards, each of which has a different effect. The red card will slow the target that gets hit, and it also applies area of effect damage. So the red card does the most damage. If you're just looking for pure damage, that's the one that you want to pull, and also because it can hits an area of effect around the target. The gold card that you just saw me pick there will stun the target when it's used, so it's very useful against champions. In fact, it's the card that Twisted Fate's best known for. Pulling gold cards, stunning the enemy, and then following that up with another attack. Like right there, you saw me toss a red card, get area of effect damage, and then follow it up with wild card. Very good for farming minions. Makes it pretty easy to do. The blue card will restore mana. In fact, it deals bonus damage, and the bonus damage is actually restored, so it can be quite useful in the laning phase early on, or anytime you're limited by mana. In particular, when Twisted Fate gets a lot of ability power, he can actually gain mana by tossing a blue card. So you can actually toss some blue cards and then increase your mana, which is kind of funny. So useful then in that sense. Anyway, the fact that Twisted Fate has essentially 3 different skills in one makes him very versatile. It's great, but the trade-off is you have to be able to pick the card you want on demand, which isn't always the easiest thing to do, but with practice you should be able to do it. The skill always goes, I think it goes, well, you can see right there, it goes from gold to blue to red and then back to gold again, and always the same. So just take some practice to get used to using the skill. Okay, his E skill is called Stack Deck, and it is a passive function. What it does is each point in Stack Deck increases your attack speed by 3%, and it decreases his cooldowns by 3%. It also has this secondary passive feature where every 4th attack on his auto attack will deal bonus damage. You can see I'm at 3 attacks right now. The 4th one will do bonus damage. Now I'm going to use his ultimate and gate in behind Termith down here at the bottom of the map. So I use my ultimate, come in here behind Termith, and I'm able to get a kill here. So, and there I go, using the skill before I've had a chance to properly describe it. So yeah, Twisted Fate's ultimate is called Destiny, reveals every champion on the map, and it will reveal them for 6 seconds, I think. Plus, you can appear anywhere on the map. He can teleport anywhere on screen. So right there, what we used that to do was, we had Sandover come out of the jungle. Sandover's been jungling for us. He came out, and together with Lurker down there in the bottom lane, we were able to go for Termith. I came in behind, I queued up a gold card, and I was able to come in behind, stun, and then come and get the kill. And I may have been misidentifying people on some of the teams here. I'm a little confused with the dual Mundos and the dual Tristanas here. So apologies if I get anybody's names wrong. Anyway, I was going to go back to the top lane, but because the top lane wasn't being pushed at this point in time, and because Krill had taken a lot of damage here, he asked if I could come and hold the lane for a minute, so I said, okay, I'll do that. So Krill's going to go back to base, and then I'll push back this creep wave. Then after that's done, I can go back to the top lane. Anyway, in terms of the items that I bought when I went back to base, I purchased a Sheen for my first item. This is a great item for any champion that's sort of a hybrid between attack damage and ability power, which is what Twisted Fate is, by the way. What Sheen does is every time that you use an ability, your next auto attack will deal bonus damage. I think that it deals something like 80% extra damage. I don't have the exact figure on me right now. So for someone who uses both attack damage and ability power, like Twisted Fate, like Kale, like a couple of other champs, Sheen's a great item, because every time that I pick a card, or every time that I toss wild card, my next auto attack will do more damage. So it's not useful for sort of a pure ability power champ, because their auto attack isn't going to do noticeable damage anyway. And it's not that useful for a pure attack damage champ either, because they don't spam abilities that much. But Twisted Fate's skills are on a very short cooldowns, and he gets further cooldown reduction with Stack Deck. So you can be spamming his abilities very frequently. I think that you can pick a card like every 4 seconds once you have cooldown reduction on it. So you'll be using wild card and pick a card a lot, and every single time that you use them, you can be proccing that Sheen and getting a lot of bonus damage. So just notice that every time I use an ability, you'll see that little Sheen appear on screen, and that's an indication that my next skill is going to do extra damage. Okay, anyway, we're back here in the middle of the map. You can see I keep trying to keep an eye on the rest of the map to see if there's an opportunity to use Destiny and come in behind someone. Like right here, Krill's having a little bit of trouble with Lurker, so I was looking to see if there was an opportunity to come in there behind Lurker and possibly get another kill. Something I'm just going to keep an eye on. This is one reason why Twisted Fate is a good champ to pick on a map like this, where you have less than the normal number of champs just because of his mobility. His ability to move around the map means that he can be everywhere at once. He can be anywhere that you need him to be. And that's something that I was going to try to take advantage of during this fight. Notice how even though it looked like Terror avoided getting hit by my wild card there, he actually did get hit. The area of effect is a little bit larger than what you might think, so you have to be very careful when dodging. And once again, I'm just, every time that the lane gets pushed forward, I'm just taking a peek at some of the other lanes and seeing if there's any opportunities there. And here, I'm just going to use that to get in a gold card stun, get in one auto attack, and then follow it up with wild card. And you can see I did pretty good damage there. I was in more or less the exact right spot to avoid getting hit by the tower. And because anytime my mana is going to get low and I'm not in trouble, I'm just going to pull some blue cards. Now in the middle, I see Atlas coming in. He just got a kill on Krill, so I'm going to come in behind him, stun with a gold card, follow it with an auto attack, follow that up with wild card. And you can see how much damage wild card's doing, and that's going to allow me to get a kill pretty easily on Atlas there. Even better, I now steal the blue buff from Atlas, so thanks for that, Atlas. It will make laning a lot easier for me, because now I can spam my abilities constantly. I'll get the cooldown reduction from having the Golem buff, and I'll also have essentially infinite mana for the moment. So just slip down there, grab a kill, and now I'll come back up to the top lane and try to get in a little bit more farming. And I went down at a good time. I had the lane pushed forward, so Terror's not even going to get in any shots against my tower during the meantime. Now I can come right back up, toss the red card, and then follow that up with wild card, and it makes farming the minions pretty easily. You also note, oh, I should probably also mention, Twisted Fate's passive means that anytime that you get a minion kill, or anyone else on your team gets a minion kill, you get 2 extra gold. Pretty minor, not that big a deal, but, every little bit does help. He originally had a passive that increased the critical hit percentage for everyone on your team, which was like insanely good. I think it gave everybody like an extra, I don't know what the percentage was, but a little bit of extra critical hit percentage, which was really good. And anyway, they reworked Twisted Fate to remove that a long time ago. So makes sense. That was definitely overpowered. It was practically a must-have in any competitive game. All right. In any case, here, once again, I'm still coming forward. Now, anytime that this happens, there is a bit of a danger. And so, look, here comes Atlas, Warwick, so I'm immediately going to ghost out, and I'm going to pick a gold card. And I should probably... I want to use it to stun Atlas, but I'm not quite able to do so. So there, I finally get my stun off, and now I'm trying to get out of there, but I get hit by an arrow from Terror, and that takes me down. And they just barely managed to kill me there. A little frustrating because I was so close to being able to avoid that, but ultimately they did get me. Now, I could have prevented that, first of all, by having a ward down in the bushes. Another thing you might not have noticed is I had no boots because I chose to buy Sheen back there at the beginning. So if I had had even the initial boots, I probably could have avoided that. And third, and probably the biggest mistake I made was, as soon as that fight started, I should have just used my health potion and started getting some health back. If I had actually used my health potion, I probably would have survived that. So a couple of mistakes there. Anyway, I'm going to use Destiny now, and I'm going to gate in here behind Lurker. Going to stun him and then start attacking, do wild card, and maybe I could have gotten the kill, but he has the Mundo ultimate. He has his Sadism ultimate, so he's going to start healing life back. All right, anyway, we're back to the end of this video. Continued next time in part 2. Thanks for watching.
Almost got him.